Hi guys, Pete Mazeres, the Home Inspector Mentor, here to talk to you about my top realtor relationship mistakes that I've made that possibly were correctable, possibly not. So, number one, early in my career, I was offering a 90-day home warranty with every home inspection via the franchisor that I was using, which was part of the reason actually why I decided to sign up with that franchisor, because I thought that that would help me break into the real estate realtor referral home inspection business market in my area. So, was I wrong? Or maybe I wasn't wrong, because it may have attracted clients and realtors at the beginning, but when I got a claim from a home buyer who was my client, who moved in and had a issue with their overhead garage door opener that had to be fixed, the home purchasing warranty that I was offering for free for 90 days, they denied the claim, which, you know, home warranty companies tend to do because they like to collect the premium up front and then deny the claim based on a pre-existing condition, right? That's how a lot of them operate. And so that then got back to my referring realtor, one of my first referring realtors that I had cultivated and built up and gotten, several referrals from. And that was the last I heard from that realtor. So, lesson learned: home inspectors who offer 90-day warranties, in my opinion, those warranties are a gimmick. And so I ceased and desist with offering those. The next time I broke a realtor relationship was this particular realtor had referred me a few times, and my client and her daughter and myself were waiting for this realtor to show up to let us into this townhome. And it was raining, and it was 5 minutes after the home inspection was scheduled to start. And the buyer lamented to me that this realtor was always late. And so, a little exasperated myself, I projected all of our irritation into the phone call that I made to that realtor's office, which apparently was on speaker, and the tone of my voice, perhaps, my impatience and irritation showing through, got through to the realtors or office personnel who were listening to me ask where this realtor was, because we're standing in the rain. And when that realtor did finally show up and let us in, she took me aside and, cussed me out basically for being impatient, I suppose, and maybe being a little too aggressive on the phone with asking her office to get a hold of her so we can be let into the house, right? And so I was taken aback by that, because I guess I didn't feel like I was that negative. And of course, that realtor never referred me again, and I'm sure that office, found out that I was perhaps a inspector who didn't respect or appreciate realtor referrals. So, lesson learned: try to always keep it professional and keep your emotions out of your communications with your clients and your referral sources, because you have everything to gain and nothing to lose by doing that, right? The third realtor relationship that I can remember that went sour on me was a realtor who had referred us many, many times and had a nice sized buyer's team. So, superstar agent, right? So this superstar agent, most of them will do, they're going to focus on listings, right? And so we got referred to them, I think, by the listing agent herself to the buyer, I mean. And so one of my guys inspected the house and uh, measured moisture in the basement and recommended further investigation. And so the home seller, who was a retiring attorney, nice guy, was pretty adamant that there was no moisture in the basement, as was this aggressive listing agent who over the years referred us a lot of business. And so I agreed to come back and check behind my inspector to see how we could further evaluate that situation and talk to the buyer about it so that as not to blow the deal up, right? So I went over and indeed verified that there was moisture present. And it was, in my opinion, because the property was ponding water around the foundation in a particular corner of the basement. Now, this was an older house built in the 20s. And so those older basements, they're just going to be damp, right? But this was a nice house, a really nice high-end house that the sellers took really good care of, and it was an expensive house, obviously. And so, in an effort to maintain that relationship, I made an effort to smooth it over and bring the buyers back over and walk them through a specific analysis of what was going on in the basement to give them, a better comfort level for, how bad the dampness was, what steps could be taken to improve it. And so I did that, but at the same time, there was a lead water test that we had upsold to the clients via a upsell email that we recommend lead water testing for older houses, especially in Cleveland, that still has some lead water pipes in the system, right? And so we did that, and this agent began to scrutinize everything we were doing and flipped out over this lead water test because it's not a line item for buyers to check off on the purchase agreement when deciding what inspections they want to do, right? And so this lead water test, of all lead water tests, didn't come back right away. It took several days, which further elongated the removal of contingency period for that buyer. And that just put that realtor over the top, and we lost that realtor because of that. That realtor and her team over that situation. So that was the third time. Another time before the third time, we'll call it the fourth time, was I had gone and done a lot of business for a referral business from a young realtor office that was up and coming. Had several realtors at the time, and they promoted me individually. They liked me, and I got a lot of business from them at the time. And I had a inspection that I did where apparently I missed a couple things, like minor things, like maybe a dryer exhaust duct that had come loose underneath a enclosed deck that needed to be reattached, and another minor thing, right? And so the buyers who had hired me moved in and saw these issues, had maybe a friend who was in the trade say, oh, your home inspector should have caught this. And so they complained back to me and the realtor. And I saw what it was, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry for that. I'm happy to refund your inspection fee if you sign a mutual release. And they did, of course. This is nothing, they're going to get a free inspection out of it. I missed a couple minor things, right? And so I explained that copied back to the realtor who owned the office that, hey, I refunded their inspection fee. Unfortunately, that was the last I heard from that office until years later when my guys started penetrating again, and a lot of realtors that we knew switched over to that office, which became a big office, right? And so the lesson that I learned from that and impart to you is that realtors are very fickle, and you must be constantly establishing and cultivating new realtor relationships, because none of them last forever. They just don't. Some of them do, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of them will fizzle out after a few years because inadvertently, you're going to do, say, or write something that, pisses them off. And then, they're going to find the next inspector, right? Well, that's the way it works, because we gain new realtors from inspectors who inadvertently do the same thing to their realtor referral sources. And then that realtor goes looking for a new inspector to work with, and hello, here we are. And so that's the way the world turns in inspection town. So I hope that's helpful and entertaining for you guys.